Seeing mixed-race children among the black slave children, white women felt confused. They knew that the children of the black male and female slaves they own had to be black. However, who were those mixed-race children that were a bit fair in complexion? That's when they came to know about the sexual relationships their white husbands had engaged in with black female slaves using threat and fear. Their white husbands would use black women slaves as properties they could do anything with. Yet they did not know that their white wives were thinking of doing the same to punish their husbands, because white women owned slaves, mostly of whom were black men. They thought about something nasty. So, what horrific and nasty acts would white women engage in with black male slaves that remain hidden from historical accounts? To this day, let's know about that in this video. To this day, white women actively participated in the slave economy. Rather than merely observing from the sidelines, they were involved in buying, selling, and owning slaves, with around 40% of slave owners being white women. The more slaves a woman owned, the more influence and authority she wielded. Therefore, often parents passed down more slaves than land to their daughters, linking slave ownership closely with the identity of white Southern women. That's because after marriage, land would go to their husbands, but slaves were often kept by the women, providing them rare access to power and autonomy in a society that otherwise restricted them in countless ways. Before the Civil War, American white women faced considerable restrictions on their freedoms, denied the right to vote. They were effectively absorbed into their husband's authority upon marriage, essentially becoming their husband's property. Their mobility and freedom were severely restricted, often using abuse as a means of control. Despite enduring mistreatment and infidelity, women were expected to maintain a cheerful, obedient, and loyal demeanor. For white women, slavery offered a sense of power and autonomy. Many actively participated in the slave trade, owning multiple slaves to maintain their social standing. Legal battles were fought to retain ownership of slaves, with many white women prevailing in court, due to the belief that slavery equated to freedom, while historians previously downplayed the role of white women in slavery. Recent research has provided a more detailed understanding. Accounts collected through initiatives like the Federal Writers Project shed light on the lived experiences of black individuals. These narratives revealed that white girls were indoctrinated from an early age in the practices of controlling and owning enslaved people. This deeply ingrained mindset perpetuated the cycle of slavery across successive generations. Here's a reminder to please support us so we can make more videos for you by subscribing to our channel and giving the video a like. We want to build a strong community, and we need your support. Let's continue. Now, legally married women were not recognized as property owners due to the coverture doctrine, which merged the legal identity of married couples under the husband's authority. However, despite women's limited legal and political standing, they employed various strategies to assert control over property, including prenuptial agreements that occurred before marriages and legal instruments like deeds of trust and gifts. In Louisiana, women could establish separate marital estates if their husbands displayed improper financial management. In essence, the antebellum South operated under two concurrent systems: a patriarchal structure and a framework granting white women legal and financial influence, despite the limitations imposed by coverture. Southern families found ways to bypass or ignore them, enabling women to wield power over property and consequently over their black slaves. During the 19th century, there was a prevalent misconception regarding white women, painting them as delicate and sheltered individuals, confined to the home, shielded from the harsh realities of the world outside. However, historical evidence from diverse sources denies this notion, revealing the active involvement of white women in the slave markets of that era. Despite the prevalence of slavery, women took part in buying and selling black slaves, often arranging transactions within their local social circles, from the comfort of their own homes due to their significant influence. White women played a crucial role in shaping a distinct market for enslaved wet nurses. Some felt compelled to separate black women from their families to care for their own children. Reports suggest that white women, particularly those with frequent childbirth, saw enslaved black women as a solution to ease their domestic burdens, depending on their financial status. White women had the flexibility to hire, borrow, or purchase enslaved wet nurses, allowing them the freedom to socialize, while others tended to their newborns. Unfortunately, not all white women treated their enslaved individuals with compassion. Some exhibited extreme brutality, necessitating intervention from their husbands. Wealthy white women often invested in enslaved men and women to exploit them for reproduction, thereby increasing their slave population. You like us to make more videos? If yes, please support us by subscribing to the Tactical Truth and clicking the bell icon. You can check out more videos on our channel too.